All right, so the second learning outcome for AN4 is multiplying polynomials. Okay, we're going to start with monomial times polynomial. That means that you just have one term in front of a bracket, okay? And that what happens is that when you take the term that's outside the bracket, you're going to distribute, which means you're going to multiply by each term inside this bracket here. Okay, so 3 times -2 is -6, and here there's no x, so you're just going to take this x squared here. Then you're going to do the same thing with the 3 times +1 gives you +3, and that's it. Second example, you do the same thing. Okay, so you take whatever's outside of the bracket and you multiply it with whatever is inside. So 4 times 2 is 8. Here you're just going to put the x squared beside it. 4 times +6 is +24 or +24. Don't forget this plus here because that creates the expression, right? 8x2 + 24, and then you're going to add the x. And 4 times +3 is +12 or +12. So now if we add variables, you have to remember that when you're multiplying variables, so if you're doing x1 times x3, you're going to add the exponents. So that becomes x1 + 3, which is x4. So whenever you're multiplying exponents, you have to add, because there's one x and there's 3 of them, so together they become 4 x's. Okay? So if we look at this one, it's going to be the same thing. We take whatever is outside and we multiply it with whatever is inside. So 8x times 1x is 8x squared. 8x times -3 gives you -24x. And that's the answer for that one. Same thing for example 4. Okay, you distribute it to everything inside. So here you have to imagine there's like a 1, right? So -5 times 1 is -5. A times A2 is A3. -5A times -4A, negative times a negative is a positive 20, and A times A is A squared. -5 times -7 is +35, and A times nothing is just A. Example 5, again you distribute everything inside. So this becomes 9, M and M2 becomes M3. 9M times M becomes 9M2, and 9M and -4 becomes -36M1, or just M. Okay, so that's when you're multiplying a monomial by a polynomial. So now if we move on to the next section, when we're multiplying a binomial by a binomial, okay, there are 2 different ways that you can do it. You can do it with the area model, okay, where you separate your monomials, one on top and one on the side. So the x plus 11 would look like this. X and then plus 11, and then x plus 5 on this side. Okay? And then you just multiply the box. So x times x becomes 1x squared, because you're adding the exponents. And each exponent here is like a 1, right? 11 times x gives me a positive 11x. X times 5 is a positive 5x. And 5 times 11 is positive 55. So now what we want to do is we want to put our like terms together. And these are my like terms, right? They both have x to the power of 1. So we always start with my highest exponent when I write my answer down. So this is x squared plus 16x and plus 55. All right, so same thing for this guy here. So I have x minus 4 and x plus 2. So x minus 4, x plus 2. So multiply my x times my x to give me x squared. My negative 4 times my x to gives me negative 4x. And my x times plus 2 gives me positive 2x. And 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Again, I want to put my like terms together. And I have an x1 and an x1 here. And you'll notice that a lot of times your like terms are going to be on that diagonal. Okay? And you want to start your answer with the highest exponent, which is x squared. Minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2x, and then minus 8. So that is my final answer. This guy here, 8 minus b squared means is the same thing as 8 minus b times 8 minus b. It's just 8 minus b repeated twice. So we're going to write 8 minus b on the top, and we're going to repeat it on the side. And then we're going to fill in our box. So 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times negative b is negative 8b. Same thing here, negative 8b. And negative b times negative b would give me a positive b squared. Okay, again, identify my like terms. And they are on the diagonal right here. And I start with my highest exponent. So when I write down my answer, I'm going to start with this. So b squared minus 8 plus minus 8 is minus 16b. And I finish with my 64. But be careful, you have to put the operation in between. You can't just write 64. So 64 is actually a positive 64, so you're going to put plus 64 in the answer. So that's how you would do a binomial times a binomial.